Hey guys, so today I'm going to make a video on weird things and habits that I do, and I feel like no one else really does these things, and if they do, then there's just a really small percentage of us that does these things. I don't even know what really made me think of this video. I've just noticed that some people, I'll say something and they're like, why do you do that? And I'm like, wait, you don't do that? Or people point out things that I don't even realize that I do. So I also texted some of my family and friends to ask for their input, and I have a long list front and back of an index card. So the first thing that kind of sparked me to do this video was that I take notes on my iPad, and I noticed that like when I'm just doodling and stuff, I will just doodle whatever the last word that I heard was. So say I'm in economics class and we're talking and I'm bored, all of a sudden I'll find myself like kind of writing in kind of like calligraphy, like, you know, stock market or economics or demand. I will just fancily write out but yeah, I'll just like hear keywords and I'll write it, and people probably think I'm a psycho because I'm just writing really boring words out on my iPad, but that's something that I do, and that's just the start of weird things. So this is something that I've been doing for as long as I can remember, and I remember the first time that I pointed it out to someone and they're like, what? So I chew on equal sides of my mouth. Like I don't have my food like all over my mouth. I'll chew it on this side, chew it on this side. Say if I'm eating crackers, I'll put 2 crackers on this side and eat it, and then 2 crackers on this side. And I don't stop eating crackers until it's even, I guess, if that makes sense. Say if I'm full and this side got 3 chews and this side only got 2, I'm gonna eat another cracker so this side gets equal. I don't know if this is making sense, but both of my sides need to be equal. And I'm like this with a lot of things when I was thinking about it. My brother actually found this out about me and took it to his advantage. Say if I get like punched in this arm, all of a sudden I'm like, I need to get punched in this arm for it to be equal, because otherwise I just feel like this side hurts, and I'm like, I need both sides to hurt because I need to feel balanced, I guess. And I also know this because there are 2 speed bumps that I go over to get into my parking lot, and I just kind of have one side of the car go over the speed bump, and then I'll swerve over so then the other side gets over the speed bump. Like I can't have only both left sides go or both right sides. Like I need both sides to equally go over the speed bump. So this is one that I've never told anyone, but I love that the human body has this. So you know how a typical song will have 4 beats per measure or whatever? And you have 5 fingers. So this is great. So I usually tap along to the beat with my feet or my head or my fingers. I'm gonna sound crazy explaining this, but maybe some of you will get it. So I'll usually, you know how people like do this, I'm gonna use my phone for example, they'll do this to the beat. It's great if you have 5 fingers because it'll be like dun 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 dun, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. You know what I mean? Because you have 1 and then 2 3 4, and then your thumb starts it and you go the other way. So again, like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and you can do it to the beat. And like I said, it has equality in it because no fingers left out. Now granted, your pinky and thumb get tapped less than the other fingers, but that's just something that's great because you have exactly enough fingers you need to make an equal beat going in a circle. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. Oh, that's another thing with the balanced. Say if I bite my nails, well, because I do bite my nails, they're very short, I just painted them last night, but I will bite them and I'll have to, even if I don't bite the other nails, I just have to interact with them so all fingers feel equal. And now that I was just tapping with this finger, like I would just do this to myself, or I'd go on my phone and like kind of equal out the fingers so that way both hands have felt equal tapping. Does this make sense? Like, if I tap one foot, I have to tap the other foot. If I cross my legs this way, 5 minutes later I have to cross them this way to feel equal. Even if I tap them equally, if they don't feel equal, I'll tap certain fingers until they all feel equal. I sound like a psycho, but I promise I'm not. My mom told me these 2, so she said one of them is a septum wiggle, is what she called it. I thought that was funny. It's kind of like a tick that I have. I do this a lot. Like it's a way for me to itch my nose, and I also do this. That's what I used to do when I wore glasses, and I still do sometimes. When I wear my glasses, that'd be a way for me to push them up without having to actually use my hands. And so now I do that all the time even though I don't have glasses on. And this is, I think maybe because I have a septum and a nose piercing that my nose is already, you know, like there's stuff in there. I'll just sit there and do that and I don't realize I'm doing it, and people are like give me a weird look, and I'm like, oh sorry, I'm doing the weird nose thing again. Another thing that my mom reminded me is kind of like a tick, and I used to see my brother and my dad do this and I was like, you guys are so weird, and now I do it, so I'm tainted. But it's where you do this and you smell your upper lip. So I think what this started off is I used to play with my septum like this. This is another tick I have. And people probably think I'm crazy because I'm like making a kissy face, but what I'm doing is I'm kind of playing with my septum. And then it just turned into me doing and like smelling my upper lip. I don't know why it doesn't smell like anything, but I'll just do that sometimes and I'll like play with my septum with my lips, and it's weird stuff, man. Whenever I get bored, I just do weird things, okay? So another thing that I kind of do weird with my mouth, I learned this in psychology, and saying it sounds real sketch, but I might possibly, this sounds so weird, have an oral fixation, which sounds so nasty. It's a Freudian thought that you go through stages and all this stuff. But anyways, long story short, I put everything in my mouth. That sounds disgusting, but I promise, I'm not meaning it that way. I chew on ice a lot. I bite my nails. I chew on straws. I don't chew on pens because I'm not a maniac. I chew on my lips. I also do a lot of stuff in my sleep, like I'll chew on my lips, or I'll grind my teeth, or like I'll do a lot of that stuff in my sleep too, but I can't really help that. I just do a lot of weird things in my sleep. I used to eat a lot of weird things when I was a kid. I'd eat dog food and cat food, and I'd eat like the strips of paper when you like rip off a piece of notebook paper, you have that edge. I'd eat that. I'd eat erasers. I'd eat toilet paper, unused toilet paper. Okay, I'm not disgusting. I'd just rip off a little square and like eat it. I'd suck on a magnet that once fell off my desk. Like I put things in my mouth. Like I said, that sounds nasty, but everything is in my mouth all the time. And I don't chew on my pens, but I like put my pen in my mouth. That's possibly a sign of oral fixation, which sounds real sketch, but yeah, I think I might have that because all of the symptoms my teacher listed off, I was like, yep, everything. This is also similar. I smell things to an odd extent. Not that I have like super smell powers, but I have to smell anything before I eat it. So if I'm about to drink something, I smell it. If I'm about to eat something, and it's weird because if someone offers me, say like, hey, do you want some of this candy? I'm like, sure. I smell it, and they're like, I promise I didn't do anything to it. I was like, no, don't get offended. I just literally have to smell things before I eat it because I feel like I have to get a sense of what I'm about to experience before I eat it. And it's the most awkward when like you're with people and like I'm just sitting there like I'm about to like mashed potatoes, and I like sit there and smell them. People are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I just have to smell it before I eat it. This was one that my mom actually suggested to me. She's like, you smell everything, and I was like, you're right. My mom and stepdad caught on to this like a couple years ago, and say if I'm like opening a new shirt, I always smell the new shirt, and anything that's new I have to smell. I really like the smell of like new things. So like when I got my new phone, I loved how it smelled for the first like day because it just smelled like manufactured, clean. It's a little different than the mouth thing. The mouth is more of a physical like thing. Like I have to, something is in my mouth. But smelling, it's like I need to get a sense of what I'm about to experience. This is one that I think I mentioned this earlier possibly. I actually don't know if I mentioned this in a video or not, but I turned my cousin onto this because whenever I'm like parked somewhere, I will stay in my car for like 15 minutes before I leave. Like I'll turn my car off and I'll just sit there for anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. And I just sit there. I say if I'm parking at Target, it's usually once I get home, I like to sit there. But also, I think what started this is because I get anxiety when I'm late. I have to be early to everything, and I hate being late. That's one of the biggest things that I get anxiety about is time and management, things like that. Turn up to things 25 minutes early, and so I'd have to wait in my car. And I think that's what started this, is because I'd just be waiting in my car, and it'd just be my own quiet spot. It's like your own transportable safe space. Like you can go wherever you want. I only do this when I'm alone. I try to tell people like, hey, let's just sit in the car for a second. They're like, no, let's just go in my house. I'm like, okay. But I just love to sit there, and sometimes I'll go on my phone, sometimes I'll just continue listening to the radio, or sometimes I will just literally sit there. And so yeah, like I said, I turned my cousin onto this because one time I was like, oh, I'm here, and I didn't come in for like 10 minutes. He's like, where were you? And I was like, oh, I was just sitting in my car. And he's like, what? And then another time I was like, can we just sit here for a second? And he's like, why do you do this? And now he's kind of like, this is kind of nice. And I was like, I know, isn't it? So try it sometime. If you're ever stressed out, drive somewhere, then go home and just sit in your car because it's so quiet, no one else is there. I love sitting in cars. This is a fun one, and my friends were like, why do you like this? So I always like to sit in the inside of booths because I feel like it's just like a cozy little place. I like, being next to the wall in a person. I like small spaces, but I'm also sometimes claustrophobic. It's kind of weird. It's like by choice I want to be in small spaces, but I don't want someone to like force me to go into a small space, if that makes sense. My friends were like, why do you like this? So there's two of us in the front, or two people in the front and 4 of us in the back. and I was like in one of the middle ones, so there's like a person here and a person here, and we're all squished together, and I just liked it. I just liked being so like small and squished, and I don't know why, but I just really enjoyed it. So this is another one that I didn't realize was weird until my cousin was like, what? So I was driving from Denver to my college, and it's like a pretty decent drive. So I was on the phone with him, and I was like, oh my gosh, my heel hurts. And he's like, or my leg hurts. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, you know, I've been pushing the pedal this whole time. And he's like, why would that hurt? So apparently most people, they put their heel down on like the floor and then push the gas pedal so it kind of pivots. Not I. I just have my full-on foot on the gas pedal and I'll just push it. There's no pivot, it's just full-on pushing. Is this making sense? So when I'm driving for a very long time, my leg was starting to be like, oh, I'm tired, and like cruise control was my best friend because that way my feet can just be on the ground. And yeah, he's like, wait, your heel isn't on the floor? And I was like, yeah, no, my whole foot's on the gas pedal. I was like, why? What do you do? I was too far away from the ground because I'm a short human. And so he kind of maneuvered my chair when I saw him next so that my heel can be on the ground. And it was a very weird experience. It's hard for me to brake when it's like that. But I still can't adapt to that. Like, I'll sometimes put my heel on the ground even because now I'm able to with like the way my chair is situated. But I still just put my entire foot on the pedal. So if you're doing that also and you're going on a long road trip, maybe try to situate chairs so your foot can touch the ground. I don't know. So I bet my like right calf muscle is like toned because of all like these how many years of me just hovering my foot for hours whenever I drove somewhere. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing that I just learned how to do, was like put my heel on the ground when I drive. Oh, another weird thing that I do that my friends kind of make fun of me is I brush my teeth for like 5 minutes. Because my toothbrush, it's an electric one and it turns on for 2 minutes and it turns off. I go through like 2 to 3 of those little sessions. Like, I'll sit down and I'll scroll on my phone while I'm brushing my teeth. I'll watch a YouTube video. So that's another thing that my friends are like, how are you still brushing your teeth? Like, I'll just sit down and relax. People just staying in front of their sink, and I'm like, no, just make it a good time. Sit down, you know, have a drink. You're brushing your teeth, but you know, like, make brushing your teeth a good time. So yeah, those are some weird things that I do, and yeah, hopefully you don't think I'm a freak, because even though I might be, it's fine, you know? Like, one thing I feel like is weird, but I have all of those things. I don't even know how many things I listed. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!